Though some of you would try to dispute this, I am 24 years old, which means that I'm old enough to recognize the cultural phenomenon that was Mean Girls, okay? Remember the scene when they're all in the gymnasium and Tina Fey is like, raise your hand if you've ever been personally victimized by Regina George. And then everybody raises their hand, and then even Tina Fey is like, well, actually, wait, I have too, right? Or who says that? Is it Tina Fey? I'm pretty sure it's Tina Fey that says that. Okay, raise your hand if you've ever been personally victimized by Bennedict Mathurin. I hate him immediately already. We're like 3 games into the year, out the gate. Hate this guy. You know why I hate him so much? Because he's better than everybody else. He's like the best guy on the court. Anytime he steps on the floor, it's like, okay, where's 0-0? Got to put a hand up on this guy. Because if you don't, then he's just going to spot his shit up right in front of you, put it right between the eyes, and then you're going to go down the other end of the court, and he's just going to be talking to you, and you're going to get so pissed that you're going to call for the ball, and they're going to call for a double, so then you get pinned in the corner, and Bennedict Mathurin is hovering over your shit like, fucking do something about it, and you can't, and he fucking pushes you down and steals your lunch money, fucking shoves you in a locker, throws your head in a toilet, goes back down on the other end, fucking Tyrese Halliburton throws some shit up in the air, and he does 8 windmills and throws that shit down. By the time you can't even get up. What's your deal, dude? Like, I don't know, what did everybody do to you that you're so pissed? He comes out after the Pistons game and is like, I know who was drafted in front of me. You know, I know every single name, so it's nothing personal, but every time I get on that court, you know, it's war. And like, we've seen that from guys. That's not new. It's not unique. We see it, and it's like kind of this, it's always a fun little thing to track. And usually after their rookie year, maybe after the second year, then the storyline kind of goes away. I'm obviously kidding. I don't hate him. I love him so much. There was a case, you know, leading into the draft, all the pre-draft conversations revolved around Keegan Murray, Jaden Ivey, or Bennedict Mathurin. It was always those 3 guys. And the people who wanted to throw Shaedon Sharpe in there were lying to themselves. It was always the aforementioned 3. And every single day that you woke up, you had somebody else in mind. And a Jaden Ivey video is coming because I'm also just blown away by what he has been. So this is not to take away from Jaden Ivey, but just for the days that I was like, Bennedict Mathurin, on this Pistons team next to Cade Cunningham. But instead, the way that it played out is somehow better, where now Indiana has like almost like a must, like they're a league pass team. If there's anybody who you're like, you know, my favorite team's not playing tonight. Oh, the Pacers are playing. Oh, the Pelicans are playing. Like, Indiana is now a team that I think is in the mix of like almost can't miss decent bad basketball, which ultimately has been my question for Indiana this year, because I feel like if they end up doing something with Miles Turner, it'll kind of signal what we're all looking for. Where, okay, well, you go get Rick Carlisle, so that's like that's a move that a serious team makes. And the Sabonis trade, well, the Sabonis trade I wouldn't really put in either camp, because Halliburton's good enough that he can contribute immediately to winning basketball, right? Which, by the way, since we're on the subject, I think bar none is my favorite trade that has ever happened in the history of basketball, because it's such a no-brainer if you're Indiana to go like Tyrese Halliburton's on the board. Like, and I overrate Sabonis. There's like nobody who loves him as much as me. And since I have so much to say about this team, why don't I just jump to a different subject, even though I think I've left like 3 things open at this point and that I think I'm going to get back to, but you and I both know I'm not going to get back to them. One of my favorite things to identify with this Pacers team is they're essentially just the team that has the roster full of guys, whether it be through virtue of trade, free agency, or the draft. They have all the guys that you've wanted your team to go after. Like, let's use the Pistons as an example. We already established that there was a camp of people who wanted Ben Math over Jaden Ivey. Okay, well, Bennedict Mathurin is a Pacer. The easiest one would be Tyrese Halliburton, who there are still people to this day who will say that we should have taken Tyrese Halliburton over Killian Hayes, right? That camp is always going to exist, and it did at the time of the draft as well. Even though I'd say a majority of the people wanted Killian, there was also that subsection who wanted Tyrese Halliburton. I know plenty of Pistons fans who wanted Chris Duarte in the draft, right, from Oregon. I know plenty of people who, well, I also know that there was an internal debate during the 2020 draft when the Pistons knew they were going to go after that Brooklyn pick, which ended up being Sadiq Bey. But I know that I'm pretty sure there was a report that came out that was like the Pistons were thinking about Aaron Nesmith, and then didn't Danny Ainge take him? I think Boston was ahead of us. He was like the pick or 2 before. So Aaron Nesmith, like there was a world where he could have been a Piston. I'm sorry, that was really long-winded, but he could have been a Piston. There was also a time where Jalen Smith was almost traded from Phoenix to Detroit for Sekou Doumbouya. Then you look at guys like Buddy Hield, who at some point, your favorite team, you've thrown him in the trade machine for your team. Like, what would it take? Would it take that much to go get Buddy Hield? Like, I don't know if it would, and that seems like a guy who could actually impact, you know, a winning basketball team. So Buddy Hield, we can throw him on there. I also have to issue Jalen Smith an apology because he's just not trash anymore. Like he's just a shot blocker. His timing is impeccable. Super, what's the word? Vertical defender. He just goes straight up and down. No bullshit. Goga Bitadze is hitting threes now. I don't remember that being a thing, but shout out to Goga for doing that. That's cool. But you know what sickens me? It's gross. I hate watching Pacers games. I hated watching Mavericks games because of this. Rick Carlisle is the biggest sicko of all time. The smallest run, like the opposing team will go on a 5-0 run. They'll hit something, quick off the pick and roll, get something down low, force a turnover on the other end, and in transition hit a quick three. And Rick Carlisle is having none of it. The dude could be up 25, and if the other team puts up 5 in a 20-second span, he's calling a timeout. He's cutting shit out immediately. And like tactically, is there science behind it? Is there math that says even something as small as 5 points can shift the tide? Like probably. Well, obviously there would be, but the momentum of the game as a fan, I'm just kind of like, Rick, relax. And just to bring this thing back around to Bennedict Mathurin, one of the fun trends of the early season that we've seen has been just the chemistry. There's just been great chemistry from first-year guys, and not necessarily just rookies, but even vets who are in like year one with a new team. The chemistry across the board has been great, but if you watch Bennedict Mathurin, it looks like he's been playing with these dudes for like 3 or 4 years already. Like the way that Sadiq and Isaiah, like those dudes have been with the Pistons for a few years. Well, watching him last night against Detroit, I was like he was pulling off like vet ass moves and was getting in Sadiq's head. I don't want to say he was getting in his head, but he was frustrating Sadiq to a point where the joke I made earlier about you're going to go to the other end of the floor and call for the ball and then get forced into a double team. That's what happened to Sadiq because Ben Math was talking his shit the whole time, and Sadiq is so competitive that he he had to get back at him. And it was great. Like I didn't love watching my guys get punked by how old is Ben Math? Probably like 20 or 21. Like that, but so is half the league at this point. So like that wasn't fun, but just taking grown man shots in the faces of dudes. Like he hit a shot on Jalen Duren, I'm pretty sure, who's like 6'10", 250 as an 18-year-old whose leap is like Victor Wembanyama-esque. It's weird to use a guy who's not even in the NBA as a barometer for how high somebody can jump. So maybe I'll take that back. Maybe in 5 years we'll look back and be like, well, that was actually a pretty good take. But anyways, how many dudes on this team can score in bunches? Like a dude who went to the Pascal Siakam school of heating up. I would say Buddy Hield can do that. Like still Buddy Hield can do that. I wouldn't sleep on Tyrese Halliburton's ability to do that. Not that it's like his go-to thing, but it's a lot less infrequent from him. Bennedict Mathurin can do that. Do we want to put Chris Duarte in there? I don't know. Off the catch, like he could get into one of those like Langston Galloway stretches where he just puts up 15 in like 5 minutes. Is that the Pascal? No, because Pascal Siakam school is like 20 in 5 minutes. Additionally, TJ McConnell makes a ton of sense for this team. Don't really know why. Just the grittiness of Indiana. I don't know where. I almost said Ryan Arcidiacono. Well, actually, he also plays for the Pacers too, doesn't he? No, that's a weird thing to lie about. He plays for the Knicks. But TJ McConnell screams Indiana. It's something about it's something about the Pacers and the Nets where I would want to put them sort of in the same paradigm, but for different reasons. Of like, I don't really have you figured out this year. And like I said, I think the Miles Turner thing, whatever ends up happening with that, if he's just like a pacer, if that's just if we're just going to Bradley Beal this thing and play this like, will we or won't we forever, that just result in like more contract extensions, then like, cool, I'm happy. I mean, I'm not happy because I don't want to deal with another Bradley Beal situation. Man, I could go for about 15 more minutes on that whole thing. Just figure it out. Do you want to be there or not? Stop putting out there that you don't want to be there. And then be like, I would never want to leave Washington. Why would I ever want to leave this place? This is my home. Signs a 5-year, $280 million extension. I don't know, man. Sometimes it's hard to, to be here. And we got, like, I don't know. Are we going to get that with Miles Turner? I don't know. I'm getting mad. I need to end this. I'm not doing a win total. I can't do 45 wins, book it, because the season's already ended. Bennedict Mathurin, fucking relax, dude.